You are tuned to Anubhav 2.0 podcast from senior citizens, catalyzed and supported by the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Government of India, through National Institutes for Social Defense and Media for Community Foundation. The project is conceived and designed by Dr. R. Sridhar and supported by Ashish Tiwari, Pooja Murada, Sai Sudha, and Kaushalya.
Hello listeners, greetings from Covaivani. I am Revathi Bhasker, an economist who was a banker for 30 years. Since then, I have managed the secretariat of a district governor of Rotary International, coordinated campus placements in an engineering institution, and have also been associated with a prestigious 5 crore rupee project of the Government of India. I have been among the frequent winners in the country's first ever interactive novel contest organized by the Hyderabad Readers and Writers along with Story Mirror. Baker's Dozen, my maiden book, which is a collection of 13 short stories, was released a couple of years back. I have also bagged the runner-up Editor's Choice Author of the Year award instituted by Story Mirror. Today, I wish to share with you one of my short stories. The story which I have chosen today is titled The Super Chef. It was to be another hectic day for Suchitra. The housekeeping supervisor was on leave due to an emergency. The receptionist had taken sick all of a sudden. The food and beverage manager was away on a vacation, and as the resident manager, it was her responsibility to see that all goes on with clockwork precision. Added to it, she had been selected for the finals of the Super Chef contest, for which the call would come any time. She was held in high regard for her efficiency and meticulousness. Hers was undoubtedly a very challenging job, especially since she dealt with all kinds of guests who patronized La Maison, which had earned its name for excellent hospitality for more than 5 years in a row. It was Suchitra's first job, and she had been instrumental in its growth from a small resting place for travelers to the present-day La Maison, which was located in a strategic place on the national highway, which tempted long-distance travelers to make a night halt there and resume their journey after some rest. La Maison was reputed for its multi-cuisine and courteous service. In the worst circumstances too, if a guest misbehaved or demanded too much, the staff would remain cool and courteous, and these two qualities would easily win over anyone. Suchitra had a knack of pacifying anybody, and that made her rise to the level of resident manager within a few years of her joining. She managed to delegate jobs to her trusted colleagues and somehow managed to have the affairs conducted in the hotel without any complaint. She was now all set to receive the call that could propel her to fame. Around 4 p.m., the long-awaited call did come. She was asked to report for the final round of selection the next morning at 8. There was, however, no clue as to what the judges would ask them to prepare. It was past 11 that night when Suchitra reached her quarters after settling accounts and preparing the menu for the next day and arranging for her replacement. She wished to sleep early so that she would be fresh for the task next morning, but sleep was evading her. She was very restless, and try as she might, she could not but think of her mother. It had been 7 years since she had left home on a dark and rainy night. Her father had come home, drunk as always, and had brought with him freshly caught fish. He had demanded that it should be cleaned thoroughly and he be served with fried fish. Her mother, hailing from an Orthodox family, could not even stand the smell of it and could not control puking. This angered her father all the more, and without thinking, he picked up the wooden coconut grater which was within his reach and banged her head with it. Unfortunately, the sharp corrugated edge slit her throat, and within moments she fell in a pool of blood. Seeing the blood, her father returned somewhat to his senses and realized that he had committed a grave blunder. Suchitra was 18 and mature enough to realize that her mother needed immediate medical attention and called her neighbor to help her reach the hospital. Her father came in the way and cut the phone. He did not wish to get embroiled in the police case, for he knew for sure that there would be one. He stuttered and stammered and got Suchitra to apply ice on the gaping wound. Hardly a few minutes had passed by when all was over. Her father let out a scream which brought all neighbors to their place. Her father then wove a story that the coconut grater accidentally slipped from her mother's hand and slashed her neck. Suchitra was dumbstruck and did not know how to react. This much she had concluded, that henceforth it would be unsafe for her to live with her father. She had put up with him just till the time the final rites were over, and then packed up a few things and left home. The only thing precious to her was the chain with her picture in a locket which her mother wore. She took it and some money with her and left home. It had been raining incessantly for over a week, and it showed no signs of relenting. All was dark around, and save some stray dogs which were barking on the streets, not a soul was in sight. The street lights had got dimmed by the heavy rain, and everyone had comfortably settled in their beds. She knew that her father would find her missing not before noon the next day, which was when he would normally get up on a Sunday. By that time, she would have been several miles away. She had come across an advertisement a few weeks back offering employment as a governess to an old lady. She felt she would fit the bill and set out to the city, which was not only very far from her hometown, but was also totally new and strange to her. She only had one thing in her mind: to get away from a ghastly father. As Suchitra had thought, she was welcomed in the new household. The old lady was living with her daughter, who was herself quite old and unable to go about her daily chores. Suchitra was like a godsend to them, and it suited them even more when she said that she did not need any salary, but only a home where she could be safe. Tara Devi and Sushma Ji were very happy to have her with them, and Sushma Ji doted on her like her own daughter. They were living on a family pension which was just enough for them, though they led a frugal life. It was Suchitra who gave them the idea that they could run a mess where homely meals could be served. At first, they were quite skeptical about venturing into new grounds, but Suchitra's confidence seemed to convince them. Within 3 months, their mess had gained acceptance in the vicinity. Suchitra then made out a handmade board to read La Maison, which literally meant the house. Though the house was a small one, Suchitra took pains to keep it neat and clean, and the dining area was especially spotless. The next year, Tara Devi passed away, leaving the house to her daughter, Sushma Ji. Sushma Ji preferred to go on a Tirth Yatra, something which she could not when her mother was alive. She left La Maison in the care of Suchitra and went on her pilgrimage. When she returned, she was happy to find that there was more and more clientele and that their mess was doing very well. With whatever money they had saved and with the bank loan, Sushma ji expanded it slowly, and while she relocated to a place more congenial to her health, she let Suchitra handle the hotel. During summers or when the winter was not very severe, she would come home and stay for a few days and leave. She had found in Suchitra a very honest, sincere, and trustworthy person that she never thought twice of giving all the reins to Suchitra. All these thoughts kept clogging her mind until, out of sheer exhaustion, Suchitra went to sleep. She felt that she had hardly slept when the alarm rudely awoke her. She got up immediately, remembering that today was a very important day for her. She got ready and dressed herself in a sari which she believed was a lucky one. The hotel boy was ready to drop her at the venue by the official car, but she chose to take her own scooty as it was her personal work. She reached about half an hour early and was looking about the place when all the 5 judges entered. "Butterflies in your tummy?" remarked one of them, to which the others laughed. Suchitra had not liked him one bit from the very first round. He was sometimes rude and pompous, and in all the 6 rounds that she had cleared, he was the one to give her the least marks, while the others were generous both in marks and appreciative words. Anyway, what cannot be cured has to be endured. There was no way of escaping his judging. She kept her fingers crossed and hoped that she would be able to win the coveted prize of 50 lakhs and a house. The other 5 competitors who made it to the final round were much senior to her, which was also to her disadvantage. They had several years of experience behind them. As far as Suchitra was concerned, for the past 5 or 6 years that she was with La Maison, she did not have any chance for hands-on experience as she was mainly supervising. She thought of her mother and that seemed to pep her up. At 8 o'clock, all the 6 were given their aprons and were asked to line up. There were 6 chits in a jar and each one of them had to pick up one, but not before they faced a rapid-fire round where the judges could ask them random questions on practically anything under the sun. Her name started with S and that too with SU, so hers was the last turn as the competitors were called alphabetically. The 5 minutes extra that Suchitra had to spend seemed ages. She was engrossed in her own thoughts that she hardly paid any attention to what the others were asked and how and what they answered. She was praying continuously that she should emerge the winner, that was all. She shook off her reverie when her name was called. It was the turn of the pompous judge to question her. "Which is your native place?" he growled. "Gudvancheri," she replied softly. "Oh ho, so you transport jaggery in vans and exchange them for cherries," he spat. Suchitra was quite irritated but dared not show her emotion. She kept quiet. "Where, in your hometown?" he pried further. "In the Agraharam," she replied. "Oh, then it is just perfect that you should cook this dish for us," he said and extended the chit to her. He was waiting to see the reaction on her face. Suchitra read it with a poker face and kept quiet. When the bell sounded, all the 6 of them went to the pantry to pick up all the things needed for their dish. At the end of 2 minutes, the bell rang again and they were expected to be on their counters ready to start. 30 minutes was the time slot. Suchitra steeled herself for the job, and when they were asked to start, she was ready with her action plan and set about the task systematically. The judges came around, stopping at each of the 6 counters, asking the competitors what they felt or giving their opinions as to how the dish had to be cooked, etc. Suchitra paid no heed to any of them. When there were only 5 minutes remaining, she had finished her cooking and was preparing to plate it for presentation. There were some scented roses in a vase at the entrance of the pantry, and Suchitra had pulled out one of them from the vase before coming to her counter. She removed the petals and made a design on the plate just as the judges were announcing that there was a minute to go. While she had completed a task a few minutes before time, the others were frantically giving final touches to their plates. Once the gong sounded, they had to stop and leave the plates on an as is where is condition. Again, Suchitra's was the last to be judged. When she presented her plate, she was again asked, "You belong to the Agraharam, right? How did you feel to cook the fish?" She replied without batting an eyelid, "I may belong to an orthodox family, but I have to do justice to the profession I have taken up." Nobody expected her to give such a candid reply. She presented her fish fry for appraisal. The regular 5 judges were very impressed and gave her a score of 48 on 50. She now looked up to the last judge for his marks and his remarks. "Nobody would say that you are from an Agraharam. The fish is perfect and the spice is neither too much nor too little. It is one of the best fried fish that I have ever tasted," he had said. And for a surprise, he gave her a perfect 10. Suchitra could not believe her ears. She would have wished him to repeat what she said, but the thunderous applause from the audience made her realize that he had really given her full marks for a change. She was crowned super chef and was asked to put on the super chef apron and receive the check of 50 lakhs and the key to a new villa. An excited and happy Suchitra reached La Maison and shared the good news with her colleagues. She then told them that she would be away for a week as she had some very urgent work to do. She booked her tickets for the first available flight to Chennai. On reaching Chennai, she took a cab to her hometown, which she reached in about an hour's time. She straightaway headed for her home. There, she saw her father being fanned by her stepmother. There were 2 children playing on the roadside, who she presumed were theirs. Her father's eyes were drooping, but the stepmother had very sharp eyes. You are the Suchitra or Sucharita who won 50 lakhs, right? We were watching you on TV last night." Her father stopped and turns towards her. "Suchi, you have come back. I knew you would come. I have to repent for my sins. I am so happy to see you. I can now seek your forgiveness." Suchitra cut him short. "Look, here's your fish fry. You may have forgotten it, but it is still fresh in my memory. Take this 50 lakhs of rupees in lieu of fish curry and eat it up." She did not wait for his reply, but turned around. She could sense how happy her stepmother was to come into such a lot of money. As far as she was concerned, La Maison was her home and she was very happy there. She called for the taxi which had been waiting for her, and as she was about to enter it, she was stopped by a very familiar voice. "Leaving so soon? You seem to be in a hurry to exchange jaggery for cherries." It was the same irritating judge. "Suchitra," he said, but this time his voice was very soft and sweet to hear. He introduced himself as her neighbor's nephew, who had been silently tracking her as he had a crush on her. Now, when she had settled her score with her father, the super chef was happy to enter into a lifelong partnership and work harder for La Maison. Thank you, listeners, for listening to my story. I hope you liked it. So this is Revathi Bhasker again, signing off on behalf of Covaivani.
You were listening to Covaivani podcasts from S3 Kovai Care, Coimbatore. Please contact 14567. I repeat, 14567 Elderline Helpline during working hours for any assistance relating to senior citizens. Thank you.